Welcome inside the coach's room. I'm Petey. Today we're going to take a closer look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've won 2 straight games. They're starting to climb in the standings a little bit. They're first in the National Hockey League in 5-on-5 goals for. Unfortunately, this is a team that is last in the Eastern Conference in goals against 5-on-5. And they're 31st in the entire league. Only St. Louis has given up more goals 5-on-5 than the Toronto Maple Leafs. And you got to be concerned because last season, this is a team that had the third best 5-on-5 goals against average. And so you got to start looking in those numbers and what are some of the problems with this Toronto Maple Leaf team. And surely you've got to look at the goaltending, that the goaltending is part of the problem. And you can go back to last year's stats when you look at Joseph Woll, who's still yet to play a game last year. He had a .909 save percentage with a .273 goals against. Stolarz, .926 save percentage, .214 goals against. This year, Stolarz, .896 save percentage, .312 goals against, almost a full goal against. So yeah, goaltending's got to be better. But there's a lot more issues in Toronto than just their goaltending. So like we do here on Inside the Coach's Room, we break down video. I was a video guy for the Arizona Coyotes for over 20 years, watch a lot of game film. That's what I do here. So let's go to the video and see what Toronto can do better to help limit some of these goals against. So you can see here, they've got the puck in the defensive zone. Breaking out has been a problem for this Toronto Maple Leaf team. They've got to find a way to break out clean and without turnover. So as the puck is coming up the ice, how do they go from a breakout to a goal against? Well, one, they're turning the puck over. And is this the best play to make as they're trying to exit the zone? No, probably not. And then they're forced with another turnover. Tavares trying to throw the puck into the middle of the ice. And, yep, another turnover and the puck's going back at him. But that's okay. Because that happens. Turnovers happen. But now it's the ability to defend that. And you can see McCabe turns to the outside instead of turning to the inside where the more serious threat is, to the inside. So he should be above this play. And Benoit gets up too far and he's unable to turn the corner with the Columbus Blue Jacket forward. He drives the net and it's a goal. Unable to get out of the zone clean. Turnover on the breakout. And it comes back at them to cause them problems. Here they are again with a breakout. Breakout to a goal against Calgary. Is it the easy play? Can they make the play underneath? I know he sees that there's traffic coming, so maybe he doesn't want to make that play. Well, then can he go up the glass and make the play off of the glass and make a safe play there? Or can he make a play to his partner? He can make a good play to his partner. His partner's got to be available. Stick in the air. It's got to have the stick on the ice. You got to be moving, and you got to find yourself a lane. The partner has to help. Even though he doesn't have the puck, he's got to be an outlet on the way out. He doesn't have a stick down. He's not ready. And again, there's a turnover. But Riley's got to stay with his check along the wall. He turns the puck over. He notices now that their forward, Calgary flying forward, is going back to the net. Well, he's got to go back to the net too. And now it's a decision by Myers. Does Meyer attack the puck? Well, he's got to also recognize that the most dangerous player is the guy driving the net. But he doesn't. He continues to attack the puck. Riley is behind his player off the wall. And again, from a breakout to the back of the net. So here we go on another breakout. They're going back to get the puck. Carlo's going back to get the puck, and he's got to make a decision to get rid of this puck. Well, throws this puck away too. He doesn't get enough on this. He turns this puck over to the Nashville Predators, and now it's a matter of D-zone coverage. This player, Yarncrook's got to get over. That's his responsibility. In the defensive zone coverage, the inside winger, he's got to get to that far point. That's his coverage. So as this play continues, let's see what happens. Carlo's got to take his check to the net. And he does that as this pass comes across. Unfortunately, couldn't get in the lane, gave up the shot, couldn't get on the inside position at the front of the net. So that player got lost inside the front of the net, and he's able to tap this, and Carlo doesn't get under sticks. Carlo doesn't box out, doesn't get in the Yarncrook can't get in the shooting lane. From a breakout to a goal against. And here they are again, going back to get a breakout. And when they're going back to get the breakout, make quick decisions, make good decisions. Know what's happening before you make the play. So as this puck comes in, you got to make a quick play. Right now you can see there is a forward available along the wall, but it's got to be quick. And you got to send it. And somebody's got to talk to him. You got to get help. Somebody's got to be his eyes. Because right now this defenseman doesn't know, or it's got to come off hard here, but that's hard because you got traffic here. You got to make a quick play because when you wait and you don't make these plays quick enough, it allows the opponent to forecheck, get in on the puck, create a turnover, make a quick play, breakout to the back of the net. They've got to make cleaner plays in getting out of their zone. And another area they're having problems, not just in breakouts, but is in the neutral zone and turning the puck over. You see your defenseman needs to change. Why does that matter? Well, it's going to matter as this comes up the ice. Hey, Toronto's outstanding off the rush. This is a team that's leading the NHL in 5-on-5 goals. They know how to score. So when you're coming up with a 4-man rush, well, you got to notice. You got to notice things. Oliver Ekman-Larsson's got to look at the bench. Someone's coming over the wall. And if someone's coming over the wall, what's his responsibility? Well, he's got to cover this side of the ice because the player that's jumping on the boards, over the boards, is going to take the near side. Well, the puck's Domi's trying to get to Matthews to the inside. There's sticks, and again, there's a turnover. Ekman-Larsson has to make a decision here. He's got to recognize that he's got to protect the middle of the ice. You're going to hear a lot about protecting the middle ice in this video. He's got to protect the middle of the ice. He doesn't. He takes a stab at the puck, trying to keep the puck in the offensive zone, and that's what offensive teams do. But it causes problems going back the other way. And because the player jumping onto the board still hasn't made it over to the halfway point of the ice, it's a breakaway. And he's all alone coming back in. And another goal. Neutral zone turnover on a 4-man rush to a goal against. And again, we're going to look at turnovers in the neutral zone. You got to make a play. Riley, again, is this the best play? Well, you've got 3 players on the outside. I don't know where he's going to make this play. Like, this is a hard play through this seam because there's sticks there. Some forward has to come back and be an available option. There's got to be one forward, though. I know Toronto wants to stretch the zone. I know they want to play offensive. But somebody's got to be there to receive the puck. Somebody's got to be an option for the defenseman. If not, then the puck turns over. And here you've got 3 forwards again on the other side of the red line trying to defend a rush against. And now you've got to defend this rush. They even go for a change. So this is a 1-on-3. 1-on-3, defenseman's got to close. You got to close on him. That is your job. Shut this play down right now. Shut this play down. Feet stop moving. Don't shut it down. Now you got to look at the forwards coming back into the zone. Matty Nyes and Tavares, they're watching the puck. They're not even noticing that there's a trailer coming in late on this play. You've got to keep your head on a swivel. Matty Nyes is still looking at the player behind the net, and he has not noticed the Columbus Blue Jacket forward sneaking into the crease area. No one has got their head on a swivel. No one knows he's there. Quick play from behind. This went again from a play with have full possession, and now Matty Nyes is in the corner. Matty Nyes was the first forward back. His job is to protect this area of the ice, and he's in the corner. And they got 2 defensemen trapped below the goal line. And again, this ends up in the back of the net. So again, let's go to the neutral zone. Tavares and Ekman-Larsson. Ekman-Larsson turns the puck over going through the middle of the ice. He tried to hit Tavares. He backs up, and Columbus just throws the puck away. And it comes back to Oliver Ekman-Larsson again. So he's got another chance to redeem himself in the neutral zone. What's the play? Is the play to Tavares up the wall, or is it to the middle of the ice? And you've got 2 Columbus Blue Jackets there, and I don't know if you can see, but your forward hasn't looked yet. He has no idea the puck is coming. There's no recognition. There's no turning your head, checking your shoulder, getting your stick on the ice, knowing where the puck is coming. By the time the Columbus Blue Jackets have the puck, your forward hasn't even looked. So how are you going to make a play if no one's available? And we talk about coming back and being available to make this pass. Yes, Ekman-Larsson has to make a better decision. He can take some ice even. But the forwards have to come back and help out so they have an option. And here they go again. And it comes back an outman situation. Goalie can't see through the screen. And another full possession to a goal against. Here we are in the neutral zone again. Let's see as they're arriving back into the defensive zone coverage. Arriving back means from the neutral zone, and they're arriving into defensive zone coverage. This matters what position you are. The 2 defensemen are here, and this now is the low forward. The first forward back into the zone is now the low forward. Your defensive responsibility is to be the role of the centerman once you're the first forward back. So right now, that's the first forward back, and that's the first forward. Not only does he go for the puck, misses the check. If you're going to go for the check in a big hit, take the opposing player out of the play. Misses the check, and then this puck comes back the other way. And again, we've talked about puck watching for this Toronto Maple Leaf team and what is the most dangerous player on the ice. Right now, this player's got to take responsibility and come back with this player. The first forward, he's out of the play now. So now this is the most dangerous player on the ice. You got to look. But again, Toronto's puck watching. They don't notice that dangerous forward driving through the middle of the ice. And the inside forward is supposed to be in charge of this lane. He's got to be able to take that pass. If the pass comes back to here, he's got to get in that shoe lane and block that out. But because you missed the check here, he's got to come underneath and help out. So one mistake now causes 2. Actually, 1 mistake causes 2 mistakes, causes 3 mistakes. So now that forward has to go to the front of the net because those 2 players are out of the way. And what does that do? That leaves the weak side defenseman with all of this room on the top of the zone. And you guessed it, in the back of the net. So let's talk about another turnover as this comes back into the defensive zone. We talk about D pinching. Another turnover in the offensive zone. What happens? Puck turns over in the offensive zone. Well, and instead of stopping and trying to defend, Järnkrok still thinks that there's a possibility that this puck's going to come to the net, so he continues to go forward. And what happens when you do that? Well, now there's 3 New Jersey Devils and 2 Toronto Maple Leafs defensemen. Now, anybody who's played the game at the back end is going to tell you you cannot pinch if you don't have support from your forwards above the opponent. And because there is no support, the defense can't pinch. They have to back off the blue line and play this as a 3-on-2. But you dive in, and not only do you dive in, you take out your back checker. So it couldn't get much worse for Toronto. And now, not just a 3-on-1, it's a 4-on-1. Because you can't pinch when you don't have support. 4-on-1, back of the net. The read of the rush coverage has to be better for Toronto because they make plays like this. Again, we talk about being defensive-minded 200 feet from your net. You've got to stay in the middle of the ice. You've got to protect the most dangerous area of the ice in the middle of the ice. You're going to hear it all the time, protect the middle of the ice. So what does the forward do? Instead of staying above, dives in. And dives in and covers absolutely nobody. You've taken yourself out of play. Now you've got 3 forwards on one side of the ice. No one's on the middle side of the ice. Well, Montreal just makes a play. They just throw the puck to the weak side of the ice because there is no one there for Toronto. And again, another turnover through the middle of the ice by Toronto's defense instead of beating it off the wall. Why? Because he's got no option up the wall because everybody's over here. So throw the puck to the middle, turn the puck over, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson has to stay with his check all the way to the net. He doesn't, misses him. And the rebound is in the net. We talk about rush reads again and their ability to dive in. And you've got to understand and recognize danger. When you're last place in the National Hockey League in 5-on-5 goals against, you have to recognize danger and you have to defend. I know you want to score goals. This team is going to score goals, but you have to defend. And you've been recognized here. You got 2 forwards forechecking, and then Buffalo's 2 forwards pull out. So what should the third forward of Toronto do? Should they dive in and get on the wrong side of Buffalo? No. They got to pull out and play on the defensive side. They've got to recognize danger, and they got to get out because what happens? Defense makes 1 pass, and it's a 3-on-2. 1 pass beats 3, and you're in an odd man rush situation from a controlled breakout. You've got to stay above these players. You can be outnumbered, and right now you've got to make decisions. Back checker gets on to Tage Thompson. He's there. Can the defenseman turn and take this play? And that allows this player to turn and take this play? No. Don't stay with your player all the way to the net. Again, another poor read of the rush by the Toronto Maple Leafs and another goal. And again, we're going to talk about their ability to defend these rushes. And here's Domi along the wall and clear possession by the Buffalo Sabres. Where is this puck going? Where is he drifting to? You've already got a forechecker, F1, taking this play. So now Domi's taking himself out of position. And not only that, this forward now, keep an eye on him because we talked about what? We talked about the middle of the ice. Protect the middle of the ice. You're above the Buffalo Sabres forward. Just stay with them. Stay with them up all the way up the ice. But you don't. You dive in. Miss again. You miss the check. So now you're on the wrong side. And again, Buffalo is coming up the ice with numbers. Your opponent up the ice with numbers. You miss the check over top. And now you're outnumbered 4-3. And there is some confusion. So I don't know if it's a system issue with Toronto, but they don't understand. Because when you see people pointing, right now somebody's got to get the outside lane. The defenseman recognizes it, got to get outside lane. You know who also recognizes it? The forward that should be in that outside lane. He's pointing that outside lane. Somebody's got to get him. So if he's pointing at him and he's pointing at him, nobody else can get him. So that's a problem. So as you come up the ice, you don't get the back check, goes all the way through, and again, ends up as another goal off of a rush. Again, we're talking about the read of the rush and the ability to protect the middle of the ice. You've got to defend. You're going to have to, at some point, understand what is the most dangerous player on the ice. Yes, you want to be aggressive on the puck. There's no question you want to create turnovers and be aggressive on this puck, but you have to find times when you can do that. There's a long way to go to get to the puck. It's a long way to go, especially when now the Buffalo Sabres have 2 players above your forecheckers. So when you dive out of the middle and you get to this area of the ice, again, what happens? It's another outnumbered rush against the Toronto Maple Leafs defense. You get a crisscross. Nobody has anybody again as they get to the net. Player all alone in front of the net. Player shooting all alone in front of the net. And that's another goal against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Defensive zone coverage, let's look at what they're doing in the defensive zone. Now, we talk about 5 on a dice, and this looks really good. Like, this is good right now. You've got that player is on the puck carrier along the wall. You've got the board side wingers, got the board side D. You've got the guys in front of the net. Everybody's got their man. Inside winger, his responsibility is this defenseman. If the puck gets across, he's got to get out this way, get in a shooting lane and defend that player. But again, puck watching, not aware that play is open. And as they climb the wall, he's up here. He doesn't even know, hasn't checked his shoulder, hasn't looked, doesn't know that the defenseman he started to dive down from the blue line, pass through a seam. And again, the defenseman is boxed out by the Buffalo Sabre forward. And that one is another goal against the Toronto Maple Leafs. In the defensive zone coverage, again, there's some confusion. And this is when they arrive back in the zone, there's pointing. When you see all this pointing, there is some concern. They've got a triangle in front of the net. You've got 3-on-3 down low. Everything is fine. You got Kane here. Let's see what happens as this play progresses. Kane's got the puck. Right now, this is your 3 low. That's their 3 low. You've got to go. Defense got to go. Defense has to go. The other defense takes this forward coming out, and the forward down low's got that forward coming to the net. That's the play. You got to attack this. You've got to attack Patrick Kane, but he doesn't come. Look who gets on Patrick Kane. He's the fourth farthest guy from the puck, but he crosses all the way over, all through all of this. And what should have happened is Riley should have been there, and the inside winger, well, he should be over here covering this point. Everything would have been fine. Riley had been here, he's here, he's got this point, he's got this point. Play's over. But because Riley doesn't go, the winger's got to come all the way over from here, and then you're way out of sorts, and you've given this player way too much room. So if you give him too much room, now he's got to attack. Because one mistake causes 2 mistakes, causes 3 mistakes. And as he climbs up, well, now what does he do? The same player that attacked Kane, his job is to what? He's got to stay with Kane all the way to the net. Got to stay with Kane. That is now your man. But he doesn't. So he was here, now he was here, and now he's here. And you know who isn't covered? Petey Kane. So you're good on that side of the ice. You've got the strong side covered, but nobody's aware. Again, nobody looks. Nobody's head on a swivel. And again, a puck ends up in the back of the net. D-zone coverage is just soft, and you've got to get more aggressive. You've got to win these races to the puck. It's a 50-50 puck. You have the 2 closest players, and you're just out-muscled. They're quicker to the puck. They're out-muscled, and now they have full possession of the puck. So now it's back to reads. You're fine in front of the net. D on man in front of the net. You're totally covered there. These 2 players have to cover out the points on the back, and what happens? You double up. And when you double up in the defensive zone, that means somebody on 5-on-5 is going to be open. And that's what happens on this play. You double up, leaves this lane, and he should have been in front of that play right now. And that play should be dead, but it's not. So when he doesn't come over, now the defenseman has to attack. When the defenseman attacks, he leaves the player in front of the net all alone. Got 2 players for the Nashville Predators on the inside on a puck that should have been won along the wall and out of the zone. 2 Nashville Predators on the inside, and they score. And we talk about their defense positions coming back into the zone. You got 2 forwards down here, and that can be a problem. But it should be an easy read. Here's a defenseman coming back, and you have to communicate. You just have to talk. D44 is trying to work his way back to the net. Now he's there. Now we're fine. Now who is the low forward? This is the low forward. That's the low forward. What's his job? He's got to come back with the Calgary Flame player. That's it. He's got him. He's got him. He's got to come back to the front of the net with that player. Everything's fine. Everything is covered. Until it's not. Because nobody gets the player driving back to the front of the net. Goalie knows it. He's pointing, hey, they're coming down the middle of the ice. Riley gets beat in behind the net. Can't out-muscle. Can't stop the play behind the net. And here comes the late man off of the wall. And he puts that one behind the net. So as you go through these plays, there's a couple of issues that Toronto has to clean up. They got to break the puck out clean, but they have to get some support by the forwards coming back to receive that pass. Don't blame it all on the defense. The forwards have to be back so the defensemen have someone to pass the puck to. In the neutral zone, turnovers happen. This is an aggressive Toronto Maple Leaf team that tries to use their speed and transition through the neutral zone to create offensive opportunities. You're going to turn the puck over at times, but when you do, you need to get back and you need to back check through the middle of the ice so you can protect the middle of the ice better. When you're playing in the neutral zone, again, it's about the middle of the ice. You have to stay above the opponent coming through the neutral ice, and Toronto isn't doing that enough. Defensive zone coverage, it's about communicating, and it's about looking over your shoulders. Know everybody's position, because sometimes you're going to be in their position. They've got to do better. Goaltending is going to have to get better, and this Toronto team is going to have to learn to defend better, because it might get by games 1 through 82. But once the playoffs start, these little mistakes are devastating. You have to defend better. You got to stay between your opponent and your goaltender if you're going to go a long way in this year's playoffs. Thanks for joining me Inside the Coach's Room. Make sure you like and subscribe to Inside the Coach's Room. A lot more video breakdowns as this season continues. Thanks for joining me. I'm Petey, and I'll see you at the rink.